In this video, we are going to track an ant's movement on the boundary. Hello, I am Jagan from Grow with Data. I am posting this video to share my knowledge in Python language with you. If this assists you in interview preparation anyways, I will be happy. It's been a long time. Continuously we did 11 SQL videos, so we are taking a break and we are putting a Python video for today. And today's video, we are going to have an input array, for example, nums 2, 3 and -5. We assume an ant starts from a boundary line. It sometimes goes left or sometimes goes right. If you are given an array like this, 2, 3 and -5, it's a non-zero integer arrays. An ant moves according to the value of the current element of the array. If you see the element, if it's a positive number, that means the ant moves to the right. If it's going to be a negative number, that means the ant moves to the left. We have to return the number of times the ant returns to the boundary. For example, if you see this, right? So assume this is the boundary line. The ant starts from this line. If you see the numbers of the array 2, 3 and 5. If you say 2, it goes 2 blocks to the right, and then 3, another 3 blocks to the right. -5, that means negative number goes to the left. So it starts with -1 till -5. At the end of every element, we have to check if the ant reaches the boundary. If it reaches the boundary, then we just say how many times it touched the boundary. If it crosses the boundary, for example, if you see this number, right, first it starts with the boundary, it says 3, so goes right to 3, and then 2 again, so goes right another 2, and then -3, that means it goes left to -3, and then another -4. It crosses the boundary and goes 2 blocks away from the boundary to the left. It's not stopping on the boundary. That means this is not eligible for the count for the ant to be on the boundary, right? It has to rest on the boundary for every element is complete, right? For example, you go the third process. It got the same 3, 2, -3 and -4 is here, and then another -2 goes to the left and then goes with 3, positive 3. So it goes with right positive 3 and one more 1. So it starts with here and then it ends here at once, right? So the result is going to be 1. If it's more than once, if it rested on this boundary, then you have to count how many times it rested on the boundary. Okay, it's a very simple question. If you have seen our previous video related to the for loop or while loop, it's very easy to address. Let's see how to do that. Right, take this as an example. We say diff grow with data. Our input is nums. So what we have to find first is whether that number is positive or negative, right? So we assume a check, which is, say, the ant starts from the boundary, the 0 point, right? And then how many times it reaches the boundary. So we just assume it as 0. Now we can say for I in range or for index where enumerate nums. I don't think we are going to use the index here, but just want to show you how to get the index and the val, right? If you print on the index position, it will be on the index variable, and then the value, right? When you say the value, it will print here. Let's call the function and see how the enumerate works, right? So it starts with index 0, which is 2, index 1, which is 3, and index 2, which is -5. Okay, the length of the array is 3. Okay, now we know how to get the index and the value. Now what we are going to do is we are going to check for every move, we are going to add the value to the check. Okay, now we just see what difference it makes. Value checking position, right? 5. So if you see this, first it starts with 0 and then it moves 2 points, right, and then it moves to another 3 points, so it goes to 5 and then it goes minus 5. So it goes 2 points here and then it goes 3 points and then goes back to the minus 5, which ends in the boundary. That means this is crossing the boundary once, right? So we can check the elements based on this. So now we say if the check equal to 0. So whenever the check becomes 0, we just say the result equal to increment by 1. Now you can return the result. So when you run this part, we can bring in the result. So every time when it get an element for 2 and 3, it's not pointing out. Say 5, yes, it's doing it. We can go to the next input variable 3, 2, minus 3, minus 4, where it don't rest on the boundary, right? So everything is going to be 0 because it changes to 3, 5, 2 and minus 2, right? So it goes to 3 and then 5 and then goes 2 and minus 2, right? So it's not resting on the boundary. If you go to the third input variable, so here it rests once, right? So it just crosses 3, 5, 2, minus 2, all that same like the previous one, and then it comes back to minus 1 and then it rests on the boundary. If you want to add one more, like you can add a 2 and then minus 2 again. So the output is going to be 2, right? So you add 2 and then come back to minus 2, right? From here you can just have 2 more lines. We don't want this. So from here you add 2, okay, 1 and 2. After that it comes to minus 2, minus 1, minus 2. So if that is the case, it touches the boundary. So it touches the boundary here once and then at this position touches the boundary. So it becomes 2. So if you disable this, so the expected output is 2 times the ant touches the boundary for this. So when you do continuously, when you do this, first is assume num equal to this and then this will be overwritten by this and this is overwritten by this. So no need to comment it out. So if you want to explicitly comment it out, you can just comment it out. Okay, fine. If you want to do more practice, the best way to do it is instead of assigning the variable, just use the assert function and then you can have your own values and then you can have the expected result for that, and then if it passes everything, it prints the final result. So it's very simple. What we did is we just assume 2 variable, it calculates the aggregation of the elements every time, and then whenever the aggregation points to 0, then we increment the result saying that the ant rested on the boundary this many times, and we just print that. How will you track that? Just use a print statement and then you can track how the value is getting converted. So this is a very simple for loop. Hope you like this video. Thanks for watching.